Awesome. AJ, you ready?
It's go time, baby.
Awesome. Let's go. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I see we've got a few familiar names, a few familiar faces, and some new folks as well. We're really excited to be here early June 5th here at 2017. We're going to be going over the LinkedIn matched audiences. As we go through the webinar, you guys are more than welcome to ask us anything. You can use the chat widget here on Zoom, or you're welcome to use Twitter with the hashtag LinkedIn matched, or tag us, use Turbo and Wilcox AJ, or our usernames. And quick introductions. I'm Dominick Malzone, the founder and CEO of Turbo. It's useturbo.com. And our AJ Wilcox is our co-host today. He's the CEO of B2 Linked and the best LinkedIn advertiser I personally know. AJ, you want to say a few words?
Oh, sure thing. I think the most intriguing thing about us is we're an official LinkedIn advertising partner. So that was recent and exciting.
Yeah, congratulations. I was mentioning that in our emails. I think a lot of people got excited about that, so that's awesome to hear.
Thanks.
Just a quick a background about the platform, the company Turbo that I'm building. It allows SaaS companies to build robust conversion funnels with sequenced Facebook ads, and we allow you to build sequenced ad campaigns. It's primarily for Facebook right now. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but if you're interested in that, I can maybe drop you an email or we'll talk about it a little bit later. But before we dive in, I'd love to go over the agenda. We're going to touch on what makes LinkedIn so exciting right now, especially for us B2B marketers. There's a lot of interesting things going on, a lot of exciting growth that we're seeing in frequency of the usage. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go into the background of matched audiences, go a brief overview, and then AJ is going to dive into step-by-step tactics that you guys can apply right after this webinar to start landing clients or landing more customers and really leverage all these new targeting options. And then we're going to talk briefly on cross-platform matching and really leveraging these email list uploads and building robust ABM-style campaigns or account-based marketing campaigns, as they call it. And finally, we'll talk on the key takeaways and a free gift that AJ's prepared for you guys. So without further ado, I'm going to briefly touch on the background, and then AJ's going to dive into more of the advanced and recent updates. So you guys may have heard that LinkedIn just crossed around 500 million members, active members, which is incredible. Actually, that's registered. I'm sorry. I don't think those are all active. But it's an incredible growth mark for them. They're continuing to grow. They have a lot of exciting things going on with Pulse and Linda, their education platform. Pulse is their user-generated content that they're calling that. A huge increase in frequency of usage. And more consistent usage is obviously much higher frequency for us advertisers, which is really exciting. They've had obviously options for targeting. The four options primarily were the title-based, targeting by job function, targeting per skills, and targeting groups. And while this was helpful, it left out a lot of things. It left out options for targeting people we already knew, like people that have visited our site, our current customers, cold email subscribers, people that have visited your website, things like that. And with a recent update of the matched audiences, we're finally going to be able to start getting into these new targeting options, which they're calling matched audiences. And to go over briefly, there's three different options. There's targeting web visitors, targeting accounts, and targeting a contact list or email upload, which I'm personally most excited about. But AJ is going to talk about each and talk about the most advanced tactics that you guys can apply today. AJ, after you.
Sounds great. All right, so website visitors, this is finally LinkedIn debuting their retargeting. Now, back in 2013, they acquired a service called Bizzo, and they got into the retargeting game a little bit, but it didn't go super well. It was priced too high, and there were some other issues there. Thank goodness they've released it to us. What this does is it will pixel anyone who's landed on a certain page. That means that you don't get JavaScript event tracking and you don't get engagement level tagging like you can get on Facebook, where you could say, if someone's spent at least 45 seconds on my website, or if they've visited at least 3 pages of my content, then add them to an audience. It's not that sophisticated yet. I hope that comes at some point. Some things to keep in mind, though. This is actually not a release I'm super excited about. The cookie only lasts for 90 days. And so if you can imagine, if you're paying, LinkedIn ads kind of prices, which are probably $4 to $9 a click, if you're paying that much to fill up your cookie pool, you need at least 300 people in that cookie pool for ads to even run. And then those don't run for more than 90 days, or sorry, that cookie won't stay for more than 90 days. So I'm a little bit bearish about using this I don't think it's going to be this silver bullet, but I definitely would encourage you to try it out if it's something that's helpful. Another thing to keep in mind, that because this is cookie level data, iOS devices like iPhones and iPads don't carry a cookie, and so those users won't be able to be retargeted. Okay, contact targeting. This one is fantastic. For those of you who are avid users of Facebook ads or Twitter or AdWords, you've known this technology now for some time. Basically, what this allows you to do is upload up to 300,000 email addresses into the LinkedIn ads system and target ads or exclude ads to only those email addresses. So this is really exciting to me. We have really good match rates on LinkedIn simply because they have a lot of times both our personal and our business address. So it doesn't matter whether you're asking for people's email addresses and they put in their Gmail or they put in their work, you're probably going to see match rates that are somewhere between about 40 and 65%. So that's pretty exciting. And then they also have integrations into Marketo, Oracle, Eloqua, and LiveRamp, with more coming. So that means that you don't have to upload, if you're using one of these services, you don't have to every month or so upload a new list and wait till it clears and re-implement it across your whole account. You can just connect your CRM solution or your marketing automation solution and be off to the races and have that list updated dynamically. Okay, account targeting is super, super awesome. This is something that LinkedIn has well above Facebook in this regard. So Facebook does have workplace targeting, but so few people are actually putting that into their profiles just because Facebook is so intensely personal that scalability is really hard to use there. And it's also something that you can't really use as a suppression audience. So for instance, if I had a list of all of my customers by their company name, and I want to suppress those, so show ads to people basically anywhere except with those customers, it's going to be reliant on each of those people putting their workplace into their profile. So it won't be super effective. You'll still have quite a bit bleed through. But with LinkedIn, everyone puts their company name into their profile. It's just part of the setup process. So you can basically go to your sales team and say, you guys give me the list of the accounts that you are dying to work with, the dream logos that we'd love to have on our website. And they can give you up to 300,000 companies to target and in a single list. And then you can apply that list to existing LinkedIn targeting. So if you don't use any other filters, you can get these audience sizes down to 300. But if you do want to use LinkedIn's filters like job function or title or skills, seniority, those types of filters, then you'll need at least 1,000 in any given audience. In the past, I've said that it really doesn't make sense to use LinkedIn ads unless you have a really big deal size, a big payoff at the end that balances out these really initially high costs per click. But because of account targeting, because of email targeting, I think every B2B company can and should be using this. So we're going to go into a few advanced tactics that you can go and implement right now. So the first one is for retargeting. I've had clients ask for specifically allowing us to target only net new visitors. So obviously with social advertising, you're going to show your ads to people who have seen them before. You're not targeting by keyword or anything. So you're going to get who you get. And so what we've done is we cookie all qualified visitors. So anyone who got to the page, cookie them, and then add them as a suppression list. So exclude them from all of our targeted audiences. And so what you're going to take out is your landing page visitors and especially your converters, because those are the people who you already own anyway. And what that's going to do is it's going to churn through LinkedIn's audience and show these ads and actively remove anyone who has already clicked on your ad. So that one's pretty cool. The second one I've been asked quite a bit about is funnel creation, so sequencing. And the concept here is what you do is you create a campaign, and I would just call it like retargeting campaign 1, and retarget all of your landing page visitors, and then use that audience to create a retargeting campaign 2, and then retarget that traffic with the next offer. So this might be a little bit hard to picture just in words, but basically what you're doing here is you're excluding all converters and all of the people who did not take action on the first offer from the second offer. And this allows traffic to graduate through your funnel, and you're starting to expose them to your sequencing. I would definitely use UTM parameters to break these audiences apart. Otherwise, you're going to need completely separate landing pages. One way I've found to do this really effectively is use the UTM_campaign variable if you're using UTM parameters in your tagging. And you can have, like, in your campaign, you can say specifically retargeting audience 1 or CEOs or whatever, and then you can use any traffic that has that UTM parameter to retarget to. So anyway, this is a great way to start. Okay, let's get into account level tactics. These are 5 tactics that you can and should go implement immediately after this webinar. So like I mentioned before, I would go to your sales department and ask them to identify, I say 50 plus, but just say, hey, give me a list of any account that you guys really want to go after. Guys and gals, of course, we're being inclusive here. And you'd love to work with these. You'd kill to work with these companies. Give me those names so that we can make sure that every single lead that comes to you from this effort is incredibly valuable, and you're going to follow up on it. You're going to dial it a whole bunch of times. You're going to get after it. And then as a marketer, that means that my leads are getting treated really well. So it's really a win-win. Number 2 here, what I do is add all of my competitors to an account-based marketing list and then add that as an exclude. So the reason why this works so well is in search. If any of you understand search really well, you'll know that your competitors are constantly typing the same keyword that you are. They want to see how they rank. They want to see what their ads say. And they're also keeping their eyes on you as their competitor. And so it's really difficult to fly under the radar with search. Every competitor really knows what each other is doing. However, with LinkedIn, when you're able to remove someone, suppress someone based off of the company they work for by name, you're going to be flying under the radar, and your clients, from my experience, your competitors will not see what you're doing. They won't understand what tactics you're using until 4 to 6 months down the road when one of their colleagues sends them a screenshot. So very, very effective. There's no reason for your competitors to see your ads unless you want to be a little bit tricky and show specific ads just to your competitors to make them think that you're doing stupid stuff. So that could work really well. Number 3, add all of your customers into an ABM list and exclude this. So like I said before, there's no reason to spend a dime on someone who's already given you their contact information. They're already a lead or they're already a customer. So add them as a suppression list to all of your audiences. Number 4, create a campaign targeting your current customers to show product updates. So this works really well with SaaS software, where you're going to have a re-up rate at the end. And a lot of these companies come and tell me that, they're losing customers because their customers didn't quite figure out how to use the product. They weren't finding the really important features that they would have found a lot of value in and would have kept them around. So I would recommend start targeting just your current customers and then show them ads like, hey, did you know that we implemented this feature and this is how our top clients are using it? These are really inventive ways of using it. That's going to be a really effective ad. And because you are talking to your current customers, they recognize you, the product is directly applicable to their jobs. Because of that, you're going to have these insanely high click-through rates. And when you have a click-through rate on sponsored content over about 1%, that's when it makes sense to bid by the impression rather than the click. And what you'll see is costs per click that used to be $4.50 or $5 are now going to be $1.50 to $2 if your messaging is really hitting home. So I recommend that. And then number 5 here, add all of the companies who've generated a lead but haven't closed yet. And this can be your I want to stay top of mind type of list. This can help influence internal purchase committees really strongly, especially with these large deal sizes in B2B. This can be a really powerful tool in your deck. Okay, and then the final one here are 6 advanced contact targeting tactics. So this is, again, using email, either inclusion or suppression lists. Number 1, add all of your current customers' email addresses and add them as exclusions to your current campaigns. So this is along the same lines, and I would recommend layering both your email and your account-based targeting on top of each other. So if one doesn't catch them, the other one will, and that's okay to have them layered. So add all of your customers' email addresses as an exclusion to everything you're running, because again, why spend money on people who are already giving you money? Number 2, add current customers into a campaign to show product updates and upsells, like I said before. And again, this is a great opportunity to bid CPM and get really, really low costs per click. Number 3, add all leads and exclude those that are closed into a campaign to stay top of mind as they're evaluating vendors. So you know if they became a lead at some point but didn't close, that they may still be evaluating your solution and evaluating it next to competitors of yours. So it makes a lot of sense to try to stay top of mind. Number 4 here, add all leads to an exclusion to all campaigns to not spend any money on current customers. And of course, exclude those who are closed. That's pretty self-explanatory. Number 5, if you have a well-connected founder or employees in your industry or the industry that they're trying to sell into, I get asked quite a bit, hey, can we advertise specifically to the followers or connections of our CEO, for instance? And the answer is now, yes, you can. So what you do is you go into their LinkedIn profile, you export all of their connections to CSV. You'll probably have to Google to figure out how to do this because they keep moving it, but they want the functionality available. You'll download a CSV of your account, and one of those columns will be email addresses. And then you can take those email addresses, upload it here into contact targeting on LinkedIn ads, and run a campaign just against those folks. Okay, and number 6, do you have email addresses of media influencers? If you can, I don't know, anyone in the media that you've worked with in the past, you can create a specifically targeted campaign to only be showing ads to the people who buy ink by the barrel and speak with a megaphone. So this is obviously for press, for PR. This is going to be a really helpful tactic. All right, so how to access your matched audiences. What I'll do is I'll pop out of here. Oh, actually, we have screenshots. This is great. I was going to show desktop, and that would not be helpful. All right, so when you go to access them, if you click Tools in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, if you're in LinkedIn advertising, under that drop-down, you'll see Matched Audiences. When you click that, you'll see the graphic here on the right with 2 tabs. The tab on the left says Website Traffic Audiences, and the one on the right says Account Lists Audiences. So if you're doing retargeting, click the one on the left. If you're going to do email or company targeting, click the one on the right. And then when you actually go in to create a campaign, this will be the graphic that greets you here. So you can either, you can see the first heading there, retarget your website visitors, and the second one, target a list of accounts or contacts. This is how you access the lists that you just created on the previous screen. So you create them on the previous screen, and then after, they take a full 48 hours. I've been testing this. They are taking a full 48 hours to process. So create the lists, get them in there now, so that when you are ready to target, they're ready to go. And then what I have found to be the most helpful here is you go down to where it says see full list under each of the targeting. Yeah, and then so that's where you can go and select the list that that you've created in the previous. So even if you've got 16, 17 different lists in there, you can still hit see full list, go down, find the right list to go after.
Awesome. AJ, I have a question for you really quick.
Sure.
I know they don't tell you when you upload your list, they give you the match rate, but they don't tell you which emails specifically were not a match. Have you found any workarounds to that?
Oh, that's a really good question. And this is, I think, one of the big failings of this. With email contact retargeting, I understand how that could be a little bit of a privacy intrusion, but with company name targeting, I don't understand why they could consider that being a privacy issue. But yeah, currently there isn't much of a workaround there. What you could do is you could use a third-party data solution like social123.com or their scraper tools, things like that. Go and try to find maybe the alternate email addresses for these folks. Maybe their work addresses. Maybe it pulls down some of their personals that they didn't give you, and try uploading those to the list. See if you can get a higher match rate there. But yeah, like you said, it doesn't tell you which ones failed, so it's pretty difficult to actually engineer around.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something we kind of spent quite a bit of time on. But that's a perfect transition to the next slide over here, which is is optimizing for omnichannel campaigns. And so obviously ABM there's a huge surge in the interest and everybody's talking about it, but there's a reason for that, because as more marketers get into social and they get more into advertising, it's a noisier space, and it requires a more sophisticated approach. And account-based marketing, or targeting one specific account with a specific message just for them, has been working really well for a lot of people. And I'm going to go through a couple different strategies you guys can use to take that same list from LinkedIn that we just talked about and apply it to other different channels like Facebook, Twitter, Google, etc. And so the email matching across the platforms is roughly for B2B around 5 to 20% for Facebook, 5 to 15% for Twitter. AdWords is 50 to 60, and LinkedIn as well is north of 60. And so obviously, just the nature of LinkedIn, it's a much higher match rate. They include their company, their work email, they sign up like that. And it deteriorates as it goes to other platforms that are more social and personal, like he said. But a couple quick strategies that you can use to actually boost your match rates are, one, for Facebook specifically, upload everything you have. So if you guys are a SaaS company, you have a CRM, upload everything you have, extract it from your CRM. You can upload as up to 3 emails. So include the personals that you have, include the work, include everything you have. And the phone numbers are another big thing. So if you have phone numbers, whether you're asking for it on landing pages or sign up, trial signups, whatever it is, upload the phone numbers. We've seen a huge increase in match rates just from phone numbers, because Messenger actually asks you, hey, when you sign up for Messenger, there's like 1.2 billion people on Messenger. They ask you for your phone number every time you sign up or log in. And so those phone numbers, that Facebook database is growing of phone numbers. So make sure you're including phone numbers in your customer file. The second thing is to enrich what you have. So after you upload absolutely everything you have, you can see all the 15 identifiers. And there's actually 16 now. A quick side note, Facebook released the option to create lookalike audiences based on the value of your customer. So now, if we haven't all received this feature yet, but if you're a premier advertiser or you maybe have selected to be a tester, you can actually upload the LTV. So you add a column that's value, a header value, and you enter the actual value, the LTV of your customer, the lifetime value. And now you can target people based on how much they're worth. So you can actually target people that are similar to your highest paying customers, which is really interesting. We're going to have some case studies on that coming up. But the second step is to enrich what you have. So like you said, there's third-party tools. Make sure you're enriching. There's Full Contact, there's Clearbit, Hunter.io, Lucify, Contact Out. There's a ton of them. If you Google them or reach out to me, I can share a couple of them that I use with you personally. But make sure you enrich what you have. This is a crucial step that could easily bump match rates up to 5 to 7%. So make sure you're doing that. And a quick side note, actually, I'll cover it in a second. So the next step is to have a cross-channel consistent message. So whether you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, AdWords, or LinkedIn, you want to make sure your message is consistent. So like he said, especially when you're targeting accounts, say you're targeting, I don't know, Google, you want to make sure that the people across that team are seeing the same message over and over again. So when you do reach out via email or you make that phone call, they're going to know what you're about, what you're selling, and what your value is. So when you pick up that phone, they're all going to be consistently on the same page with what your message is. And so here's a quick example we did for PandaDoc. It's a little tough to see, but you can see the top is a Twitter ad, and the headline is the future of documents. Followed up below that is another image, very similar. Same thing, the title is the future of documents, and then the very bottom is a Google ad, and you can see the future of documents is there as well. So by the time they get that email or that phone call, the follow-up call, that future of documents phrase is going to be pounded in their head, and you're going to have a consistent message across all channels. You can do the same thing with LinkedIn. And if you want to get really granular, you can actually make small changes. So every platform has a little bit of a twist. So whether if you're doing like meme videos on Facebook, or maybe you add like a LinkedIn stamp on their LinkedIn ad, making small changes is okay, but being consistent as possible, keeping in mind like the context of the platform you're advertising on is really important. Another thing that we've found to work really well is when you're doing acquisition campaigns, so you're not retargeting people, it's very important to warm the audience up and build the trust. So they say that trust is the antidote to friction, and you can see this funnel right here starts with a short video, which is a very friction-free piece of content, and then as you go down, the friction increases. And so when you throw an ad at somebody that doesn't know who you are, what you do, or they don't have any relationship with you, you're going to have very poor results if you just throw a trial sign up at them, or you just throw a webinar invite at them, because that's a lot of trust. It takes a lot of them out to put their email in and then invest an hour of their time. You want to build trust up. And so what we've done is we've used less friction through content like short videos, blog posts, ebooks, etc. And as they move down the funnel, we graduate and obviously push them to the next step. But Short videos are very good for Facebook, and then introducing a blog post. Obviously, video is quite a piece of content that takes some time to put together. So what you guys can do right after this webinar is, if, say you're advertising on Facebook, you can create an audience. Say this is a cold audience or a list of contacts that you uploaded. You can introduce a blog post to them. So one that we're having really good signups right now is like 7 tips to increase your trial conversions, free to paid conversions. It's working really well. And what we do is straight from there, we retarget those people that read that blog post with an invite to a webinar or invite to a landing page to opt in for their email. And we're getting like $1.09 email signups, which is really good. So target people with a piece of content that will be relevant to them, and then retarget those viewers of that page with an opt-in or with something a little bit further down this funnel. And another quick example we've done for PandaDoc. This is very extreme, but they have a bigger budget and we can do these things. So day 0 is a quick video of the platform. You can see that consistent message, welcome to the future of documents. It's just a very short, like 14-second animation of their platform, and it covers like the 2 main value propositions. Then day 4, we go to a good article on how to save your time with 7 sales hacks. Following that up another 4 days is an ebook where we collect their emails. And then if they read that, they graduate to the very final process, which is inviting them to have a free trial. And so this campaign has worked really well. We start with a cold audience, work them down the funnel, and by day 12, we have a lot of relevant and high converting trial signups. And a quick side note, the platform Turbo that we're building, useturbo.com, allows you to do this super easily with a drag and drop builder. You just upload your assets, write your ad copy, and we will easily let you build sequence campaigns with time delays and all that good stuff. And you can see a quick animation on the screen to the right. But if you're interested in learning more about that, you're welcome to shoot me an email, dom, @useturbo.com, and I'd be happy to share more about it. And AJ has a free gift. I'd let him talk about it.
Sure thing. So this is the checklist that me and my team use when we onboard a new client. So this checklist, it's a nice visual that Dom's designer actually helped us create. And it's an 8-step checklist that says when you are looking to get advertising on LinkedIn, these are the 8 steps that you need, the prerequisites to get started. So it's going to have the things like open an account, have a company page, but also things like get your audience persona kind of thought through, as well as messaging and imagery. So definitely check out that bit.ly. It'll get sent out with the email afterwards, like the recap. But yeah, enjoy, and then let me know if you have any questions.
Awesome. And then I guess we could open up to questions. I'll check Twitter. You guys are welcome to use the chat widget, ask questions regarding Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, anything we just talked about, or all of the above.
And thanks everyone who is joining from our previous webinar we did. We definitely maxed it out. We had more people attend than we expected, and so anyway, we had to do a second run. Also, the recording was kind of screwed up from the other webinar provider, so we're using Zoom this time, and that shouldn't be an issue. So thanks for everyone being patient with us, and of course you'll all get the recording of this afterwards if you need to take notes.
Definitely. All right, AJ, we got a question for you. What are some of the results you're seeing with the contact list uploads?
So results on social media ads are just, they're super hard because every offer is different, every customer is different. But what I am seeing is somewhere between like 40 to 75% match rates. And then depending on how big that list is, and then depending who that list actually is, if these are customers, you're going to have really, really high engagement rates. If these are like a purchase list, you're not going to have great. But I will say that I tend to see lower costs per click when I'm defining these audiences as well, just because there is less competition right now, because not everyone's using this. Mm-hmm. So if you were going after the same person by job title, for instance, there'd be a lot of competition around that. But if you're going after them by email address, there decidedly should be less.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have a question for you. This is more of an overhead question about LinkedIn, the platform, where you think it's going. Obviously, there's more user-generated content. They're really building out the education platform. Where do you see LinkedIn going, and how will that affect us advertisers, like the frequency of the visits, the engagement on their mobile, and things like that? Where do you think it's going?
Yeah, a great question. I think the real direction is going to be dictated by the Microsoft acquisition.
Yeah.
So if anyone here has used Bing ads, and especially used it over the last several years, you'll see how good that team has gotten at creating near parity with Google AdWords, which is by far the world's most advanced ad platform.
Mm-hmm.
And so now with shared resources, shared knowledge, I mean, these are things we probably won't see till like 2019, just because these are two massive organizations and then really big projects. But I think eventually we're going to get to the point where you can do search and social together. So imagine this: if you say, I want to bid on anyone who's a CEO at a company with over 500 employees, that types CRM software, or that types, best HR software. That's going to give you really, really precise, incredible targeting as long as there's volume around it. So I think that's where we're going to go. But like I said, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be really interesting though, with reaching incredibly relevant people. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. We got one more question in here. Do you need personal emails or biz emails for contact retargeting?
Great question. So here's the thing with LinkedIn. It's just like Facebook in that when you signed up, you generally put in your personal email address. So personal email addresses are going to match best on LinkedIn. However, what I have found is LinkedIn keeps a record of all the email addresses that they've interfaced with you on, and they attach to your profile. So if you go and I think you click on account and then privacy and then something about email. Sorry, this is like not exact at all. But if you go through those steps, you'll find the list of email addresses that LinkedIn has for you. And in like 5 out of 6 people that I talked to just running an informal study, they all had their work address in there, even though they had never specifically told LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So I think it almost doesn't matter which one you're going after, but B2B email addresses should match better on LinkedIn than they do on any other network. However, personals, I think, are always going to match higher.
Definitely. Do you have any personal strategies you use for personal email discovery?
Most of my clients, what we're doing is we're running LinkedIn ads against very precise audiences. And so it's generate emails from white papers, guides, checklists, ebooks, that kind of thing, and then retarget against them. But also things like we talked about earlier with taking your CRM database or your marketing automation database and running campaigns against that. That can be a really awesome way of using them as well.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome, man. Well, AJ, thanks again for joining. You have so much knowledge, and I love listening to you talk. I enjoy the webinar probably more than anybody, but I appreciate you coming on. And for anybody that wants to get in touch with you regarding LinkedIn advertising, or if they need a consultant or anything above, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, sure. And thanks so much. It's an honor to be included here. Probably the best way, if you go to b2linked.com, the letter B, the number 2, and then the word linked.com. If you fill out the form there on the homepage, that's going to get you right to me. So you're not going to be contacted by a salesperson. You're not going to be put into a complex nurturing flow. You'll just get me, and I'm not high pressure. So reach out with any questions. I'm super happy to answer.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a perfect way to end it. Make sure you guys check his website out. He's got a lot of content up on the blog, and he's got like a viral video on YouTube. So make sure you check that out. AJ, thanks again for joining. Thank you, everybody, for attended. And for those who couldn't make it, we will share the recording, or if you just want to watch it again, check your email in the next 24 hours, and you will see a recording there.
Thanks, Dom, and good luck to everyone out there advertising on LinkedIn. You're rocking it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.